Question 1. You're a cloud security architect working for a company migrating its on-premises web application to Azure App Services. The web application utilizes a service account for database access. Currently, the service account credentials are stored in the web app configuration. Security best practices dictate not storing credentials directly in the application code. Your task is to implement a secure and manageable solution for web app to access the database in Azure. Choose the most appropriate solution for the following from the following options. Second question. You're a cloud security architect managing a large-scale Azure environment with various web applications and backend services. These applications require access to resources across different Azure subscriptions, including Azure SQL databases and Azure storage accounts. Currently, each application uses its own service account with credentials stored securely in Azure Key Vault. However, managing individual service accounts and access permissions across subscriptions become cumbersome and error-prone. Your task is to design a more scalable and secure solution for workload identities in this multi-subscription environment. Which of the following options represent the best approach? Hello fellow Azure enthusiasts, welcome back to our channel 591 Lab. Today we are diving deep into the world of Microsoft Azure with a focus on the AC300 exam, the Microsoft Identity and Access Certification exam. If you're gearing up for this exam or simply want to reinforce your knowledge, you are in the right place. In this video, we will tackle a comprehensive set of review questions and answers specifically designed for the AC300 exam. Whether you are a beginner exploring cloud concepts or an experienced professional aiming to validate your Azure skills, this content is for you. So let's break down what you can expect within this video series. One is question exploration. I will dissect real-world scenarios and quiz-style questions that mirror what you might encounter in the actual exam. From cloud services to pricing model, for example, we've got it covered for you here. So secondly is the detailed explanations. It's not just, I believe it's not just about getting the right answers, it's about understanding why it is correct. So we'll provide in-depth explanation for each question, demystifying Azure concepts along the way. Thirdly is in regards to exam strategies. We'll share tips, tricks, and strategies to boost your confidence during the exam, from the management to tackling tricky questions or scenarios. With that, we've got you covered. So the last one is in terms of interactive learning. So feel free to pause, rewind, and engage with the content. So we believe that learning is a journey, and we are here to guide you every step of the way. First of all, who are we? We are 591 Lab, pronounced as 591. 591lab.com. 591 Lab is the top IT training and certification exam brand in China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Singapore. Our mission at 591 Lab is to provide our clients with exceptional exam preparation experience for certifications in Cisco, Huawei, Aruba, Juniper, Microsoft, and Azure certification tracks. So feel free, grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and let's embark on this Azure adventure for the AC300 exam. And remember, knowledge is power, and mastering AC300 is your gateway to unlocking more advanced Azure security certifications. So hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell, and let's dive into the world of cloud computing with enthusiasm and curiosity. Questions of discussions will revolve around 1. Plan and implement workload identities, and plan and implement identity governance. So this video series for the part 3 will predominantly delve into planning and implementing workload identities. The questions that will be provided to you will be scenario based. So remember, if you are ready to explore the questions, answer, and explanation, let's get started. And remember, Azure is not just a platform, it's a mindset. Let's elevate our cloud game together in this particular series with 591 Lab. Question 1. You're a cloud security architect working for a company migrating its on-premises web application to Azure App Services. The web application utilizes a service account for database access. Currently, the service account credentials are stored in the web app configuration. Security best practices dictate not storing credentials directly in the application code. Your task is to implement a secure and manageable solution for web app to access the database in Azure. Choose the most appropriate solution for the following from the following options. A. Use a user assigned managed identity for the web app and grant it access to the database. B. Configure Azure AD application registration for web app and grant it access to the database. C. Store the service account credentials in Azure Key Vault and access them from the web app code. D. Implement Azure Active Directory password hash synchronization to manage the service account password. Okay. So before we answer, we give the right answer to this question. Let's navigate to our whiteboard, and I'll provide explanations around this particular question or scenario. So when we go to our whiteboard, we have on-premises and Azure. So an organization has got a web application that is sitting on premises. They have got a web app here, a web application sitting on premises, and they want to migrate this application to Azure. They want to migrate this application and place it here, web app. And this web application has got a database. So for example, here also this web application has got a database. So during the migration of this application, we can do the migration of this application from the on-premises together with the database there to the Azure side. So that migration can be assisted through a service we call the Azure Migrate. Can assist you to migrate that particular application. So you can use Azure Migrate to migrate that application. So the Azure Migrate, for example, has got the SQL Management Studio that can also help you to migrate the database. But that is another discussion for another day. So in terms of after you've migrated this application here, so the question is revolving around in terms of security. You want to ensure that access to this application is secure, and as mentioned, storing credentials in the application code is not the optimal way, or not the most secure way to storing the credentials in the application code is not the optimum way to provide security aspect. So the best way possible is usually storing these credentials away from the code, not in the code itself, so that even if someone has got access to your code, they don't have access to the credentials that are being used to access your application. So when we go to choice A, when we go to choice A, here it's saying use a user assigned managed identity for the web app and grant access to the database. So this is not ideal for service accounts. So remember, we are dealing with service account. Web app utilizes service account, and the web apps, the ideal way of dealing with the service account is not using the user assigned managed identity. It should be self-assigned user identities. So again, so when we go to B, configure Azure Active Directory application registration for web app and grant it access to the database. So you'll find that this approach will align with security best practices by creating a separate identity for the web application in Azure AD, and then you can then grant this application registration the necessary permissions to access the database in Azure. I'll show you this within our Azure portal. So this separates credentials from the code and enables centralized management within the Azure AD. So additionally, it further enhances security by implementing managed service identity, that's the MSI for the web application. So MSI automatically assigns a system managed identity to the web application, that is eliminating the need to manage the application registration yourself. And again, it also can grant the minimum required permission to the application registration for accessing the database. This brings up the principles of the least privilege, that is minimizing the attack surface. So I'll show you in the portal on how to create, how do we do the application registration, and also how to even grant access, for example. So first of all, you'll need to create an Azure AD application registration. So I'll go to Azure portal. So when you go to Azure portal, when I go to my Microsoft Entra, you go to your Microsoft Entra ID, and then navigate to app registrations. App registrations. So within the app registrations, you can click new, and then you give the name of the app. So you can say test web app 2, and then you say account the who can use this application for or access this API. So you say account within my organization, that is within a single tenant, and then you give the redirect URI. This means when users click the when they need to sign into your application, this URI will redirect them to your application automatically. So when I complete all this and then say register, my application will be automatically registered. So because I'd already registered an application, I'll show you at the test website. This is the application that I've already registered, as I've shown you. So now if I want to enable manage ID for this web application, so I'll go to, for example, I'll go to my app service. So go to app services. So within my app service, I've created so let me go home. I'll show you. Go to resource groups. This should be go here, 591 lab. I go to my test website. Yes. So within my test website, this is my test website that I've created. So you'll find that if I go under settings and identity, I can assign system. I can assign the user. I can define whether the user can get to user accounts or system assign identity. So when I go to that web application, and then go under settings, go here identity, and then when you are under identity, you can see system assign, whether you want system assign or user assign. So when I say user assign, I'll need to add the users who are able to access this application. System assign is if I want other applications to for example, this application to access for example, a database somewhere, I ensure that the service account that is being used here, like it needs to be system assigned. So the status here, I'll need to check it to be on. So when I say on, that means this web application is allowed now to access the database wherever I've placed the database. So then again, if I want now to grant permission to the application, so remember I'd registered the application already on the app registration. So I'll go back and then go to the app registrations, go Microsoft Entra ID, go to app registrations, and then go to my application itself, that is the test web app, and then the test website, and then I go under API permissions. Under API permissions, I can define who has got access to these applications. So I can add permission and then get to define which particular services has got access. So for example, in this case, I need my Microsoft SQL server. So I'll just choose within here my Microsoft SQL server, or I need an Azure storage account to access this web app. So I'll be able to select these, for example, if I want Azure storage, and then enable it, then add permission. So this will enable the web app to access the storage account. So this will grant the application registration the specific permissions required for the storage access, for example, in this matter, or even if I choose the database, it will grant it access. So this is the best way possible that you can be able to secure access to your resources. As you can see, if I wanted now to this communication is now happening through the user and the system assign account, and it's able to access these other resources via the system assign accounts, not the user assign accounts. So this is the importance that it's enhancing security and also minimizes effects of the application being hacked, for example. So yeah, that's addressing question 1. So as you can see, the right answer here is configure Azure Active Directory application registration for web application and grant it access to the database. So the other choices will not and are not correct for the reasons below. Like for example, C, storing credentials in the key vault doesn't address the need to avoid embedding them in code, because it's not addressing that particular need essentially. D, Active Directory password hash synchronization. It synchronizes the on-premises passwords to Azure AD, but it's not relevant to this scenario with the service account. So it doesn't play a bit. So there's a disqualifier there. Second question. You're a cloud security architect managing a large-scale Azure environment with various web applications and backend services. These applications require access to resources across different Azure subscriptions, including Azure SQL databases and Azure storage accounts. Currently, each application uses its own service account with credentials stored securely in Azure Key Vault. However, managing individual service accounts and access permissions across subscriptions become cumbersome and error-prone. Your task is to design a more scalable and secure solution for workload identities in this multi-subscription environment. Which of the following options represent the best approach? A. Implement Azure Active Directory application registration for each workload and grant access based on subscriptions. B. Leverage managed service identity for all workloads and configure Azure Resource Manager access control for each resource. C. Utilize Azure Active Directory domain services and migrate workload service account to the managed domain. D. Configure Azure Key Vault manage identity for each workload and grant access based on the Key Vault policies. So before we deal with this question, this question revolves around how best we can get to implement secure access to the application, because now the challenge here is securely manage workload identities for various applications accessing resources across multiple Azure subscriptions. So as you can see here, when I get to my whiteboard, I'll explain. When I go to my whiteboard, so you have your applications. So you have your applications, and these applications, you need to, for example, have these applications that are residing in various subscriptions. So subscription A, subscription B. So you have your subscription that's sitting you have your application that is sitting across these other subscriptions. So to securely manage this particular workload, it's the best approach. So the best approach here, as you can see, the question is asking which your task is to design a more scalable and secure solution for workload identities in this multi-subscription environment. So web applications and backend services, these applications require access to resources across different Azure subscriptions. Okay, remember, underline, these applications require access to resources across different Azure subscription, including Azure SQL database and Azure storage accounts. Currently, each application uses its own service account with the credentials stored securely in Azure Key Vault. So, like, the way that question is designed is that this application, for example, this application needs to access, for example, a storage account that's set in subscription A. This is an example. And also we also have a database that is sitting in this other subscription B. We also have a database here, and this application is using a service account. So what will happen here is that we will need to authorize these applications to you in order for them to allow access to this particular storage with sitting in subscription A, and also to the database that is sitting in subscription B. So here we will need to, for example, get to leverage the managed service identity for all workloads and configure Azure Resource Manager access control RBAC for each resource. So, like, if I had the application, so let me go back to the Azure portal. So let's say I have the application here. So if I go to the test website, for example, I need this test website to allow access for the storage account, for example. As I mentioned, if you go to identity, you'll be able to give the system a sign and then say it's on. And then again, when you come now to access control here, access control will enable you to give access to particular application, for example. So for example, if I say grant add role assignment, if I click grant role assignment, I'll be able to, for example, grant storage. So if I select with the storage, so you'll see roles for the storage here. So you see I have application operator role, contributor role. I also have monitoring. So these capabilities will get to allow my application to be accessed by other resources as per the roles that I've allowed on this particular application. So in this regard, you'll find that this is the reason why leveraging managed service identity for all these particular workloads, be it the storage, be it the website, the application itself, or even the database, and configuring the app access control RBAC for each resource will contribute significantly for accessing these particular resources that are sitting within different subscriptions. So if we check on the other answers, for example, implement Azure Active Directory application registration for each workload, this answer is not correct, because while Azure Active Directory application registration is secure, managing individual registration for each workload across subscription becomes complex. So that means you'll have to register for the database, you have to register for the web app, you have to register for the storage. It's very complicated. So And C, choice C, which is saying utilize Azure Active Directory domain services and migrate workload service account to the managed domain. So ADDS replicates on-premises Active Directory. It's not ideal for cloud native workloads, because remember, it's the workload that we are dealing with is really cloud native. It's not replicating of the on-premises workload to the on-premises to the cloud side. So D is saying Key Vault managed identity is not replicable here because configure Azure Key Vault managed identity. This is not even applicable here because it provides workload identity within the same subscription for accessing Key Vault secrets. You can't be able to access the secrets that are sitting in subscription B and your workload is on subscription A. So you still need another Key Vault within the subscription where where the workload is situated. So you can't just have a single vault in another subscription and then make the other workload sitting in other different subscription access that particular Key Vault. That would not be appropriate. So as discussed, the correct answer here is B, leveraging managed service identity for all workloads and configure Azure Resource Manager access control for each resource, because MSI automatically assigns a system managed identity to each workload. That is the web app, service, database, wherever. That is simplifying the management. And again, RBAC now here, the role-based access control allows granular control over which workload using their MSI identities. So the implementation steps for this particular scenario will be, so for example, if I have my web app, so I'll go to the resource, as I'd shown you. I go to the resource, this is my web app, and then I go to identity, and then under identity I need to confirm, because I'm enabling MSI for the workload, I need to confirm the status here is checked to on. I need to check the status here is checked to on, and then configure RBAC permissions. I need to come here, that is the IAM, and configure all the permissions needed. After that, and then I need to repeat for all the workloads and the resources involved. So the benefits here is that this aspect of scalability, there's security, and also centralized management for these particular workloads. So navigating back to our question, the correct answer is B, leverage MSI for all workloads and configure Azure Resource Manager access control for each resource. I want to thank you all for attending today's class at 591 Lab. We hope you find the material informative and helpful. Remember, practice is critical to mastering any new skill. So review the course content and keep practicing with 591 Lab. Help and support. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact us. We appreciate your participation and look forward to seeing you in our future classes. Have a great day. Thank you.